Dave's World, Mondays at 8:30 on 19.
Good evening, folks, and welcome back, everybody. I'm TS, and this is the simulcast up and running now for January the 20th, 1995. Barbara Walters is on this program tonight from ABC News, and an Oscar Award, or excuse me, a Golden Globe Award nominee for her work in the motion picture Tom and Viv. We have the actress Miranda Richardson on tonight's program, and of course, all of you on the toll-free highway at the 800 number. George Burns, bless him, is 99 years old today. And I read in the paper that he has not given up smoking cigars, but he is down from about a dozen cigars a day now to 3. And George plays cards and sometimes golf at a club here in Los Angeles, at which 5 years ago they banned smoking in the clubhouse. And he wrote a lovely letter to the board of directors, I'm told, which said, I've been smoking cigars since I'm 12 years old. I like to have a dozen a day. I can cut that down, but I need to be able to smoke in the clubhouse. At the next board of directors meeting, and you know private clubs are often very, very difficult to advance into modern times, but they held a long meeting and they finally changed the rule. At Mr. Burns' club, there is no smoking by anybody who is under the age of 97. Love that story. I've got a lot of Barbara Walters stories, but my favorite is the time that she and I first worked together in New York City in 1974. And you will find this hard to believe in this age of 7-second sound bites on the evening news. But she and I did a 3-hour primetime news documentary that went on from 8 to 11 o'clock and took the entire prime time on one evening on NBC television. And it was the story of men and women and the changing roles between the sexes back in the 1970s. And I had just come to New York from California. And if you knew me then, there was all this stuff that I was brash and that I was arrogant and that I was a big mouth and all that stuff. And a part of it was true, maybe 10%, but not all. And of course, Barbara Walters had been pictured as the hard-driving, demanding, dogmatic co-anchor of the Today Show with the late Frank McGee. And so we were seen within NBC as two people of enormous egos, and that once we got on the television stage together over in Brooklyn to make this documentary, we would have arguments and we would literally kill each other in front of the cameras. Now, the management of television, you know, the presidents, the vice presidents, you know, the suits, as you've heard them called, they love it when the stars fight. Like, I mean, they have a field day with Barbara Walters and Diane Sawyer, you know, and they have a field day with Roseanne Barr and her producers. They love to see a fight. They love to see us go nuts and self-destruct because they believe we're all children and they hate the millions of dollars they have to pay us to do these programs. That's basically what it is. And by the way, for the most part, they all wanted to do the 11 o'clock news and they couldn't read. So, that's the truth now. You can laugh, but it's true. So we were over in Brooklyn at the NBC studios there back in '74 on a very cold December afternoon, and half the management of NBC was back at 30 Rock in Manhattan watching the studio to see Snyder and Walters absolutely kill each other. We got there, we shook hands, we spent 2 wonderful days going to lunch at a wonderful Italian restaurant called Bonaparte's there in Brooklyn. Got the show done, it was a big hit, everybody loved it, there was absolutely no fight and no argument, but tonight I'm going to tear her heart out now. And they said, geez, we can't believe that you two got along so well. Well, why wouldn't we? You know, we're adult people who enjoy doing television and enjoy doing broadcast, and it was all just fine. And I can't wait to get her out here in just a couple of seconds. But I have to tell you the last thing I talked about with Jocelyn Elders. You remember she was on here a couple of nights back. She used to be the Surgeon General. I said, what is the best thing about not being the Surgeon General anymore? And she says, Tom, I never have to wear that stupid uniform again. Barbara Walters is just around the corner. We'll be right back after these messages.
This is Red Dog beer. It's not ice brewed, fire brewed, and it's not some nursing sipping red. It's just genuinely good beer. Okay, there is one thing unusual about Red Dog. It's unusually easy to drink. Because it's bold yet smooth. Because it's made with the finest natural ingredients. Are you gonna like Red Dog? Yeah, we think so. But hey, it's your call.
Alpha 1, this is Alpha 2. Enemy squad in open. Moving north on foot. Alpha.
Sergeant, here's the latest intelligence report.
I'll post it right away, Sergeant. Sir, enemy position is confirmed at Papa.
Step off.
Army Reserve, Montgomery GI Bill, skill training and more.
Intermission, the show that asks, how much do you really know about the silver screen?
Brought to you by Nestle Refrigerated Cookie Dough, the very best in every bite.
Sometimes it took Flash Gordon as many as 12 episodes to foil Emperor Ming. What planet was under Ming's rule? On our 10-point scale, this question has a difficulty rating of 9.
Used to be, if you wanted a cookie, you came to me. But ever since she discovered Nestle Refrigerated Cookie Dough, my life has been empty. Just look at these flavors. Oatmeal cookies with raisinets, sugar cookies with bits of Butterfinger candy, and all chocolate chip with real Nestle Toll House morsels. Just 10 minutes and you've got warm, chewy Nestle cookies. Oh, I really want one bad. Hey, whatever happened to sharing?
New Nestle Refrigerated Cookie Dough, the very best in every bite.
When Emperor Ming wasn't trying to conquer Earth, he was doing his evil work on the planet Mongo.
You know, you talk about people who report television news and who appear there and compare them, and if you do that sort of thing, you would have to agree that Barbara Walters is the first lady of television. Journalism students all across America look to Barbara Walters as a mentor. She is here in Los Angeles tonight on assignment. The last thing she needs is to be here at 9:45 at night, but she's here with us at CBS, and I'm just very, very pleased and flattered that you would share your time with us. Thanks for coming over.
I love you. I have for years.
I've loved you from the first time we met in Brooklyn, and they all thought we were going to kill each other, remember?
Yeah, and we wanted to do the Today Show together.
Yeah, we did.
You and I thought it was after, I guess, after
Frank
McGee had died, and we thought we would be terrific together.
Yes,
and
we
we
would
were
have been.
terrific together. And then they said, no, your personalities, you're both too hot.
Yeah, you'll kill
your
each other.
personalities, you'll kill each other. Yeah.
What's wrong with having two great broadcasters
I don't know
on the
what they thought we'd do, go up and smoke. So here we are. We can audition tonight. Maybe it's not too late. We could get an early morning show.
Hey, listen, kid, I don't know about you, but this is my last stand. I can't, I can't do any more farewells, you know.
I just don't want to get up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning, so we'll have to stick to nighttime.
Listen, let me ask you here about what has become the intense competition amongst news magazines, not only for stories. Remember back in the good old days, news magazines competed to see who could get an exclusive story. Now it's who can get the biggest movie star. And I'm not talking between you and other people. I'm talking your Dateline, your Now, your Primetime Live, your 2020, your 60 Minutes. This thing has become so celebrity-driven that you're booking movie stars for news programs.
I don't do any movie stars at all on 2020. I do movie stars in my specials.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons that I came out here today was to do an interview for Academy Award night with Jim Carrey.
Oh, yeah.
Who, by the way,
oh, no, is he wonderful?
Is so nice and centered and cute and straight. We had a wonderful day.
Good.
But I personally, this doesn't mean that, you know, that others don't.
Others don't.
I do no movie stars at all at 2020, and we do, on 2020, very few movie stars. It doesn't get the ratings for us. It's a whole other thing that does, but not big
Good for
celebrities.
You, because
no, it's not because we're so wonderful. We just find that certain ones draw, but that it isn't automatically a draw. On the specials, they do, and sometimes on magazine shows, they don't. So I am relieved of that. And I want to wear the different hats. I don't want to do movie stars on 2020.
Yeah, it's just, you know, you notice that this television has become so personality-driven and so star-driven and so entertainment-driven that it's really tough to find except for 2020 and 60 Minutes. And I don't mean to slam other programs here, because what they do is fine, but to find something that we call journalism or something like, gee, I didn't know that, you know? I'm glad to learn that.
I don't want to sit here and plug 2020, because I really have nothing to plug. This is a night in which I have nothing that I have to sell. Right. But I mean, if you can do something where people do say, I didn't know that, and I think that does happen in our program. I mean, we do everything from, I don't know, brain operations to, we do investigations, but we don't even do that many investigations. We don't do a murder a week and so on.
Let me ask you here about the best year of your life, which it probably was the last year of the Today Show.
Did you just hear me talking?
No.
That's so strange, because I was sitting in your green room talking to someone and I said, the best year of my life was the last year of the Today Show.
You know, I knew you then.
I was so happy on that show.
Yeah.
And so miserable the next year when I came to ABC.
But I mean, you were finally the co-host of the program.
After many years.
And Jim Hartz was your co-host. And saying nothing negative about Jim, but you were the dominant person on the program because Jim's a very laid-back broadcaster.
We're very different
But I knew you, and I saw you at NBC, and you seemed like you were so happy. And I remember saying to you, when you made your deal with ABC to go and be with Harry Reason, I remember I said to you, you know, you might not like this very much. Remember in those days, women had not anchored the news, and you thought...
I was the first.
Yeah, and you...
Thank goodness Connie last year, you know, was able to do it.
Isn't anchoring the news boring compared to what you do now?
Look, there are times when if you're out, if you're away and you're in, I don't know, Bosnia the way a Peter Jennings would be, or if you're in Chechnya now or something, when you have to be out there and you have to do it, it's very exciting. But most of the time, and I can say this having done that, and
right.
my failure had a great deal to do with Harry Reasoner and me, and the lack of chemistry, and the fact that he didn't really want a partner, and the press was terrible, and this and that. But in terms of the job, you come on and you're reading from teleprompter.
Right.
In England, they call them readers.
Right.
It is much harder to do a magazine show, and I think the hardest job of all is the morning shows, because these people have to go from, you know, one moment you're interviewing the movie star, and the next second you're doing the
Speaker of the
Secretary
House,
of State,
Gingrich, right?
And the next moment you're doing how to make potato chips without oil.
Yeah.
I think it's very hard, and you're doing it live.
Except they do send the stuff over the night before. I remember the week that I worked with you, they sent all the stuff over the night before.
Yeah, but they're sitting up all night reading. At least I was.
I didn't read that much, but they sent one over one night, and I've never told this about you, but they gave me an interview with a guy named E-Talk who was going to talk about Eskimo power. How the Eskimos, yeah. And there was a little note that said he has a very slight speech impediment, but you'll have no trouble understanding him. Well, we got out there, and I don't want to do it because I don't want to make fun of people who are handicapped, but you couldn't understand this guy. It was just brutal, and I thought to myself, if this is what morning television is, I want no part.
It didn't happen that often.
Yeah.
It didn't happen that often.
What about your leading men? Because they have been your leading men, you know, and we ask stars, and you are that, about the leading ladies, leading men. You and Frank McGee, your relationship with Mr. McGee.
Probably, I was going to say the most difficult, when I went to ABC and everything happened with Harry, I remembered best Frank McGee. So I want to start with the positive side.
Okay.
First of all, if the last year of the Today Show was the happiest year, this year is as well. And I've said I hate people who say, I always say, what's the best thing, the best time of your life and the worst time? And they say the worst time was whatever. But the best time is now, you know, as they're getting a divorce and they've just lost their job. This is the best time for me, so, okay. And I have worked, as if we talk further, with men who have been so supportive, like Hugh Downs, like you, like Sam Donaldson, whom I am crazy about, like Ted Koppel, David Brinkley. I mean, dear, okay.
Yeah, great guy.
Frank McGee had come from Network News. He had been one of the 3 anchors on NBC Network, remember?
Right, sure.
And when they put him on the morning show, he really thought that was beneath him. And he really did not want a woman with him, and especially a woman who hadn't come out of Associated Press.
He probably didn't want anybody else with him.
Well, and on the air, he was wonderful, and I will say, and I've never talked about this, and most people probably don't remember him, he was very supportive on the air. But off the air, he wasn't. And he also had an edict that if we were doing an interview from Washington, the hard news interview, I could not come on that interview until he had asked 3 questions.
Really?
And I was not co-host. There was no such thing as a female co-host. When Frank died, NBC was looking for a host. And I said, just a minute, co-host, because it had been in the contract. If he ever left, and we never thought he would, I would be co-host. And that is how it happened.
And
but
what about,
most men, I just want, because I hate this, men and women. I work with male producers, I work with female producers. Most men are enormously supportive, and that was rare.
Most people are enormously.
Most people are.
Right.
So that was very rare, that there was that kind of feeling.
Jim Hartz, terribly nice man.
Nice man.
Very relaxed man on the air. I used to see you, and you'd be sitting up nice and straight in the chair, and Jim would kind of be like, you know, sitting there like this, wondering, and I wonder when this sucker's going to be over so I can go home.
Well, you know, different people have different personal...
Sure.
When I left the Today Show, they changed it all, and I guess Tom Brokaw came in, and an adorable girl named Jane Pauley, and Jim no longer was in the show. Sometimes there is a feeling that you have to have the yin and the yang, or the strong and the so forth. I don't think so. I think...
Hey, if they're good, people will watch them. If they're not good, people won't watch them.
Can I tell a story about you? Or
Sure, of
about
course you can. Of course you can. Let me do a little spot first.
Okay.
Is that? Yeah. Let me do a little spot, and you can turn the tables here. We're with Barbara Walters. The toll-free line is up and running at 800-95 CBS TV. I'm Tom. This is the Friday night, early Saturday simulcast on radio and television. We'll be right back after these messages.
In the 80s, a lot of companies invested their pension funds in questionable real estate. Unfortunately, that's life. In the 80s, we invested most of our pension funds in investment-grade bonds. That's New York Life. New York Life, the company you keep.
Hello, I'm Brent. I'm here to help you relax. Listen to the waves and relax. Oh, no. Hey, Bud Light. All right, okay, calm down now. Relax. Ow! What are you... Ow! Oh, that's it, pal. I just wanted a Bud Light. Score one for the relaxation king.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down.
You know I'm not attached.
Make it a Bud Light.
Get live with CBS on Prodigy, the nation's most popular online service. Go behind the scenes of The Late Late Show with Tom Snyder. Talk with Tom and his guests online. Tell us what you think. Get program information. Even take a special Tom Snyder trivia quiz. To order Prodigy, call 1-800-PRODIGY and ask for the CBS offer today.
No one from the West has ever been where you'll be Sunday night, on alert with the man and the button that can still fire Russian missiles at the United States.
A lot of...
Presenting Marvin the Magnificent!
Hey! Al, listen, there's just too much of these Encore Salisbury steaks for one magician. I can't make these juicy flame-broiled steaks disappear all by myself.
But you're magnificent.
Oh, you can call him Marvin.
Marvin. Of course, a 2-pound family-size entree.
I just can't make a family appear.
I can. Mine'll appear at your place 6 tonight.
Al, I can't tackle all this Encore lasagna.
7 tomorrow. I'll bring my team.
For tasting more, it's Encore.
Charmin presents Evie Discovers Makeup.
Evie! Evie, are you in there?
Evie is about to discover something that feels as soft as the leading regular facial tissue, squeezably softer than any other bathroom tissue. It's Charmin Ultra.
Evie, what are you doing? Oh, Evie.
So cleaning all that stuff off...
That's quite a color.
...is even softer.
Little bitty pretty one.
It's not just softer. It's Charmin Ultra.
Mike and Pat Kane here for Southwest Ford. Pat, I can't believe that you're a Steeler fan.
No way, Mike. I went to Pittsburgh and I stole some used 94 program cars.
Wow.
Look at this Tempo, fully equipped, $89.95.
Cheap.
Fully loaded Taurus GL,
Power windows, power seats, got it all.
Your choice of a Thunderbird LX or a Probe SE, power windows, power locks, cruise tilt, all the goodies, $11,995.
You know what? For steals like that on used cars, I'd go to Pittsburgh myself. 888-2600 today.
Barbara Walters of ABC. Let me get one call, and then you get your...
You're not going to let me tell
Oh,
you
yeah,
what
she's
to why
going
you're
to grill me about my personal life. Here's Tammy in Tampa, Florida. Hello. Tammy in Tampa, Florida. Hi.
Hi.
How you doing, kid?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine. Barbara Walters is right here. Say hello.
Hello, Barbara.
Hello, Tammy.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you if you agreed with the way Connie Chung handled the Newt Gingrich mom's case when she said, whisper to me.
What a surprising question.
Yeah, isn't it, though? Notice I didn't bring it up. And I just said, when Tammy asked the question, I said to Barbara...
Well, you know, I thought that I might be asked this question. So I called Connie, whom I'm very fond of. That's another myth that women in television
of
don't
course
like the
it
women
is.
in
I wouldn't
television.
even bring that stupid stuff up.
Okay. And aren't you glad that we got a phone call so that people don't know that I was asking you how come you never married and whether you're happy and so on. But I'm not going to
ask that if you want, but I'm not going to tell you no matter how many times you ask it. Why do you love to ask people about
Because I care about you and because we haven't seen each other since we used to, you know, take a walk and talk 20 years ago.
I saw you at the Marvin Kittman party in New York.
But we didn't talk. Anyway, to get back to, hello, Connie. So I asked Connie to send me the tape. If you saw the whole tape, and nobody did.
Oh,
I did. Saw that, okay, they saw that little section, and that was it. There was a point, 4 or 5 minutes into it, when Mr. Gingrich, the father, says, well, you know, Newt isn't really from the South. He whispers, you know, he was born in...
Harrisburg Hospital.
Right. Yeah. He's really a Yankee. Yeah. And Connie whispers back, we won't tell anybody. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So that was the tone of this whole... Everybody was whispering, and Connie was
We don't have to do it here.
Saying,
we can say it right out. We can just blurt it right.
But that's the way they were doing it.
Yeah.
You see, and Connie's saying, we won't tell anybody. So that when 10 minutes later, she said, just between you and me, we won't tell anybody. It was part of the whole interview.
Yeah, it was part of the shtick of the interview.
That's right. If you take it by itself, it sounds like she should have said off the record, this terrible girl. It wasn't. And then the other thing, everybody picks on Connie. Mrs. Gingrich said, Hillary Clinton is a bitch. Look, you know, Mrs. Gingrich is a nice older woman, and it came out as kind of, isn't she spicy? She went on another program the next night. All she had to say was, listen, I'm sorry, I was trapped last night with Connie Chung. I'm not going to repeat this. She said it again. She came on your program. So this is no mistake that she said.
By the way, when they came here, they said, we don't want to talk about Connie Chung.
But she had done it the next night.
I know.
She'd gone on the next
American
night.
Journal or Inside Edition.
And nobody ever apologized to Hillary Clinton, who is with it all, or not with it all, who is our First Lady and deserves a position of respect. I don't think that Connie did anything wrong. I think that CBS, perhaps, didn't realize what was happening.
Well, it wasn't very helpful when the CBS brass came out the next day, and here's our first little test, fellas. When they came...
That's right, we are on that network.
Yeah, we are. And by the way, it ain't on videotape, so they can't take it out. But it didn't help when the CBS brass kind of left Connie out there twisting on the end of a rope.
Connie had got a bum rap, and I really am very glad, Tammy, that you've asked about it. Connie is a good and hard-working reporter.
I handled it myself.
I beg your pardon?
I agree with the way Connie did it myself. I think she did a good job.
And, you know, when all is said and done, so what? I mean, you know, so she said that Newt didn't think very highly of the First Lady. So what? He's a Republican. I mean, did you see, by the way, what Gingrich said about men and women the other day?
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah.
Did you hear what he said about the press tonight?
No.
He said they were criticizing the book sale, and he said, I'm a revolutionary, and they're reactionaries. The Democrats and the press, and went on to lambast them. Good for him.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
you know.
It's a free country. Say what you want, pal.
That's right. But he could also have said to his mother, as I used to say to my mother, don't go on, Mom, because, you know, you've never been on before, and who knows what you'll, you know.
Yeah. You got to be careful with us, Mom. We do strange things. Tammy, I'm very glad you called. Thanks.
Okay, I want to tell George Burns happy birthday.
I'm sure he's watching.
Yeah,
I saw him last night.
Good night, Tammy.
Good night.
Bye. You saw George?
I saw him. I've known George Burns all my life, really, in many ways, through my father.
Oh, sure. Lou Walter's Latin Quarter. There you go.
And I was at a restaurant, and someone came over to me and said, George is 99 years old.
Yeah.
Would you go back and say hello to him? So I did. And I put my hand out, and I said, George, do you think I'm too old for you? And he said, I think you're too young for me. And I said, do you think we could make it together? And there was this pause. I could tell that he couldn't hear me too well. And he said, what? And I said, do you think we could make it together? And he said, only if we just agree to use the bottom halves of our bodies. I thought, he's 99 years old. How wonderful. Happy birthday.
He's truly wonderful. You know, the Latin Quarter and being in your dad's family as a kid, when were you aware that showbiz was your dad's life and that he ran this fabulous nightclub that featured the best entertainment of its time?
From the time I was a little girl, because the first Latin Quarter opened in Boston. But, you know, when I look back now, and there are still comedians in the business, a Milton Berle or Henny Youngman, who still think of me as Lou Walter's daughter, not Barbara Walters. Yeah. But when I was...
Is that okay with you, by the way?
Oh, yeah, I'm so proud of my dad now. But when I was growing up, I wanted my father to be like everybody else's father. Yeah. My father was not home. Friday night was a big night. You know, Daddy would stay home. And we went to the Latin Quarter at Christmas and birthdays and Thanksgiving. I didn't want that. I wanted to be home. You know, I wanted to be like everybody else.
Have a turkey, you know, have a roast,
you know,
whatever,
have the family there. And I didn't think it was wonderful. However, you know, I mean, I've talked about this occasionally. I used to sit in the lighting booth and watch the shows when I was a kid in Florida, and the Latin Quarter in Florida was the place. Ambassador Joe Kennedy used to come there, and Howard Hughes.
Would he come with Gloria Swanson or Rose?
I wouldn't have known, you know. But I
See, now you would. That's the...
No, I wouldn't. But I can do all the numbers. I used to say if I had 2 glasses of wine, I could do Milton Berle, and I could do Willie Howard and Sophie Tucker. I mean, it's the side of me I hide. But anyway.
Come on, give me your Berle.
I don't know. Well, shall I tell you what he used to do? He would come out and he'd stand in front of the microphone and he'd go, "Oh, I was goosed by Westinghouse." Now, I mean, who needs to know that? Why do I have to remember that? I have never, ever said that. You know, there's a wonderful reporter for the New York Times named Judy Miller, and she writes a great deal about the Middle East. And her father was a man named Bill Miller. He had a place called Bill Miller's Riviera, and he now lives in Las Vegas. And Judy and I have talked about our backgrounds. You know, it's the minister's daughter who's the hellraiser, and it's the man who owns nightclubs who you know, turns out as we did. And my dad was an entrepreneur. My father did the shows. My father had nothing to do with mobs or gambling. He did these beautiful Ziegfeld-like shows. Strange background.
Goosed by Westinghouse. It's funny how
I'll pretend I never said that.
Yeah, I know you will, but I got it on tape, even though we're... It's funny. What does Barbara Walters have in her mind when she's doing television shows? She's thinking about goosing.
I never think about... Oh, please. Oh, I'm so sorry I did that. I cannot tell you.
Hey, listen, if I were let him, I'd run that tape where you and Ed McMahon sell the tires or whatever it was when you did the commercial. Remember dear Betty Furness in our building? I think of, when you mentioned Westinghouse, I think of her so often. God, she was so great, man.
And this is a woman who really changed her whole life around and went into it.
Let me do a commercial, then we'll go into my personal life. We'll be right back with Barbara Walters, who is Act 4 tonight. We'll continue after these messages.
This winter, there will be 2 kinds of people. People who try hard and people with Die Hard. The next generation of Die Hard batteries start at just $59.99. So get to Sears and don't get stranded.
Introducing Tidy Scoop with Dust Trap, a revolutionary new ingredient that pours so clean, it's gonna leave all those other scooping fillers in the dust. Make it tidy all the time.
Everybody needs some money sometime. Everybody needs some cash somehow.
Hello?
Rita.
It's midnight.
I need $500.
Now. I'll call Western Union.
Just call 1-800-CALL-CASH, and you can send money from home.
My sometimes is now.
Western Union. The fastest way to send money worldwide.
Chuck Norris must
die.
When he infiltrates a murderous secret society. Walker, Texas Ranger, Saturday.
Dottie West, she followed her dream and became one of music's biggest stars. But the story didn't end there. Her husband's...
What are you doing in here?
Her secrets.
Mama?
Her obsessions.
My car!
And don't you ever forget where this came from.
Michelle Lee in the revealing true story of the incredible Dottie West Sunday.
Chet.
It's not just about headlines. It's about American lives. Here at home and around the world. You can't cover every story from an anchor desk. You've got to go there. Real news from 2 real reporters. See the difference. Experience CBS News.
More selection, more savings, and unbeatable service. Only one of the country's largest furniture retailers has the buying power to give you all this and more. At Value City Furniture, it's all priced to sell. Save over $900 on this 3-piece sectional featuring dual recliners, queen-size sleeper, and wedge unit. Not $2,400, now only $1,498. Or this 5-piece modern wall bed, not $900, it's priced to sell $598. So for the best home furnishing values in America, guaranteed, nobody is priced to sell lower than Value City Furniture.
My guy's a Mega Man.
doesn't sleep enough, he doesn't eat right, not that I cook, and the pressure. So he takes Megamen from GNC. It's a multivitamin formulated just for men. Sorry, girls, men have different needs. It's got energizing herbs and special male nutrients, and he's a better man for it. Now, about the wardrobe, it's a guy thing.
Megamen, only at General Nutrition Centers. Here's to your health, America.
Attention Corvette buyers. The buy of a lifetime is this weekend at Victory Chevrolet's 3rd annual Corvette Snowball Sale. Up to $10,000 off a brand new Corvette. Take a ride this weekend at Victory's Corvette Snowball Sale.
What do you create when you open a can of soup? A noise, maybe? This was created a long time ago. You just reheat it. Now this is new Kettle Creations. Homemade taste you create fresh in 30 minutes. They even created a window so you can see all the pasta and beans. With Kettle Creations, there's a moment when you actually create the soup. You could be part of that moment. Ah, there it is. New Lipton Kettle Creations. Soup so good, it's uncanny.
Coming up later on tonight, Miranda Richardson, who is up for a Golden Globe Award tomorrow, and on Monday, Gary Sinise. Here is Debbie calling from Waynesville, North Carolina. Hi, Deb. You're on the air.
Hi.
Hi.
Barbara, I wanted to tell you how much I admire you. I think you're wonderful.
Oh, dear.
My husband and I are blind, and I love the way you describe things when you interview people. It really helps us. But the question I wanted to ask you is, which interview stands out the most and that you've had to prepare for and has made you the most nervous?
The interview that would stand out, I mean, when you do so many, they sort of blur, and it's always the next one.
Sure they do.
The one that I think that would stand out most would be an interview, a series of interviews that I did with Anwar Sadat.
It's funny, I was thinking the same thing. I can see on the plane with him flying to Tel Aviv for the first time. What a night, huh?
Yeah. And I mean, he did change the world, and I knew him. Really, I was privileged to know him so well. The very first night that I was on ABC News, I interviewed Anwar Sadat. In those days, you didn't interview anybody in the news. It was a terrible thing to do.
Right.
I got criticized.
What do you mean, put a news interview in the middle of a news program?
So that's the one.
What do you think you're doing here, Walters? Yeah.
That's the one I would remember the most, and probably the most nervous was an interview that we did live for an hour with Richard Nixon after he had done the David Frost one, which he'd sold.
Sure.
And then we did this, and when it was finished, I remember in the middle of it, I had worked so hard because I thought if I ask questions that are too tough, I'm going to look,
Sure, you're kicking him when he's down.
And if I don't ask them tough enough, he's going to filibuster and so on. So I did all the foreign policy questions, and then I thought I would give him a chance to show a warmer side, and I asked him how he got through all of these years. And he said, like you, why are you asking me personal questions? He said, why don't we go back to the foreign policy questions? So I riffled through my notes.
Can I tell you something about guys? We'd rather talk about foreign policy than our love life, yeah.
Sure, well, anyway,
we only talk about it with other guys, and we use the language you don't want to hear.
Anyway, just to finish this,
yeah.
Couldn't find the questions. So I had to do them. Fortunately, I'd written them, so I knew them. When it was all done, I stood up, and what had happened was that when I had been done with the foreign policy questions, I put them under, and I sat on them. And then what was I going to do? When we finished, he was perspiring, I was ice cold, and that was the one I was most nervous.
No kidding. Richard Nixon. Debbie, in what way does Barbara describe things? Could you give me an example of how she is descriptive in an interview that helps you to see it even though you don't see?
Well, when she's at these stars' homes,
right,
she describes the house. She tells how it's decorated.
Nice of you. I would never have thought of that, and we do.
And it really helps. It really helps me to know what kind of taste these people have.
Debbie, you know, sometimes when we talk about, is there anything that we do that makes a difference? And I don't want to sound pompous.
Then don't.
But that's nice to hear what you're saying, isn't it?
And
isn't it?
Tom, my grandmother is a big fan of yours, and she was so happy when you signed up to come to CBS.
That's great.
And I really think it was wonderful what you did last night, matching the Citibank's amount for those
thanks.
two gentlemen.
But it was no big deal. You know, we were happy to do it, but that's very nice of you to mention that, Deb.
Barbara, I love you.
Okay.
And good luck.
Okay. We love you back. Bye-bye, Deb. Yeah.
Can I tell my story about you that I was going to do?
Sure you can. But before you do it, I promise you can do it here. I just want to ask you one more question. You talked about your dad and how proud you were of him. How's your sister, kid?
My sister died.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I did not know that.
I know. I didn't talk about it very much, and as you know, I don't talk about it very much.
I know you don't.
But I guess I used to think that if I ever wrote a book, my book would be called Sister, because it probably was the dominant reason for my working, and I guess maybe in a way the background.
What a lot of people don't know about you is, yeah, you do this for the glory and the money, but you worked many years because you had to.
I had to.
You had a sister who was not as bright as the rest of us.
Yeah, my sister was mildly retarded, and my father lost it all. And I don't want to do that. Let me talk about.
I know, but
you don't want to.
Go ahead, go ahead. What does she have left? What did I run the clock down to?
About a minute and a half.
Okay.
I can tell this fast. I have a very special feeling about you. I always have, and you know it, and that's why I'm here tonight. And it goes for many things that we did together. But, and I don't know whether you remember this, I got divorced. Do you remember the story? When my daughter was about 8 years old. And you had it was a no-fault divorce, but you still had to go to court that day. And it was on all of the news programs that night. It was on WNBC, CBS, and WABC, and it was not on NBC. You were doing the local news. You did not put it on. When the evening was over, the head of the news called you up and said, why didn't you put that on? That was news. You're doing people in the news. It doesn't matter that Barbara works here. You're doing people in the news. Her divorce was announced today. Why didn't you put it on? And you said, she has a child. I never forgot it. You are one of the nicest, softest, now say something to counteract that.
Yeah, this big, loudmouth, arrogant, yeah. Now I'm going to tell one on you.
I think our time is up.
This is an ABC, Barbara. I was at a party at the Shanks's many, many years ago that you were at with Howard Cosell, God love him, and Rune Arledge was there, and I think a couple other ABC people. And a number of us, not you, because you had no idea that this was going on, but some of us in the room began to smoke cigarettes that were not manufactured by tobacco companies.
I would never have known.
I know you wouldn't have. Now, about a week later, I'm watching you on television, and there's a man there showing how people at home grow marijuana. And he said, now, Barbara, and he put it up on the desk, he says, this is a marijuana plant. And you said to him with a perfectly straight face, oh, is that what marijuana looks like? I've never seen it before.
You could be sitting in front of me, doing it, putting it in your ear, smoking it. I wouldn't know.
Bless
Does
you
that
for...
make me sound awfully square?
Not at all.
So be it.
Hey, you're the hippest thing in television, kid. Don't let them tell you otherwise. In everything you do, have a great time, and you're always welcome here, and I love you from all my heart, and I'm going to cry and all that stuff, and thanks, pal.
Thank you.
Okay, Barbara Walters, folks, from ABC News, 2020, Friday nights, 10 Eastern.
Thank you.
Miranda Richardson. Barbara Walters, Miranda Richardson. Now, these messages, get off me.
See yourself now, baby. It's not my fault. It used to be so.
A brilliant idea never starts out brilliant. It starts out ridiculed. Because it's different and people haven't seen anything like it. Be unreasonable. Insist that it can be done. Show them how. This is the software that helps you show them.
AT&T, this is Matt.
AT&T, True USA Savings.
Yes, sir.
Bottom line it for me.
Just make $25 in calls a month, and we'll subtract 20% off your AT&T bill.
Yeah, but 20% off calls to whom?
To anybody.
Anybody, or just certain anybody?
Yeah, absolutely anybody in the U.S. It's our best program
What
ever.
about Martians?
Calls to people on Mars?
No. Martians living in the U.S.
Oh, sure, to them, too.
Really?
AT&T True USA Savings. Save 20% to anybody, anytime, anywhere.
Your true voice.
What's been added to Nabisco shredded wheat? Not fat. Definitely not sugar. And not a pinch of salt. Because unlike those other cereals, the original shredded wheat is made from just pure, delicious, 100% whole grain wheat. So, what's been added to Nabisco shredded wheat?
Milk's good.
Nabisco shredded wheat. It's just naturally good.
Now, Taco Bell brings you all your supreme favorites for free.
Sour cream. I want to top your taco, can't you see?
And who could forget
My tomato.
Elsewhere, you'd pay hundreds of dollars for sour cream and tomatoes. But at Taco Bell, they're free when you buy an original 59-cent taco.
Taco Man.
Taco Bell cashiers are standing by, so order today.
Franz Klammer, Bill Johnson, and Julie Parisian traverse the trail at Telluride as they compete at the Jeep Eagle Tournament of Champions Saturday on CBS.
It's a February full of movies, big events, and specials. Award winners Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster in Silence of the Lambs, and America's most anticipated marriage, A Walton Wedding. Sidney Poitier in the miniseries Children of the Dust, and Hallmark Hall of Fame's The Piano Lesson, plus music's biggest night, the Grammy Awards, all in February on CBS.
Hey, Jim Daly, what's for the outfit?
Getting ready for Metro Toyota Super Bowl sale. We're kicking off the new year with Super Bowl size savings. 95 Camrys, 0 down on only $289 per month with full power. 95 Corollas, up to $1,800 off. Nobody can beat these deals.
Sounds great, but why the outfit?
My only defense against a mob like this coming in for this sale.
Metro Toyota Super Bowl sale. But please, go easy on Jim.
My next guest has a big night tomorrow. She is a nominee for a Golden Globe Award, Best Actress in a Dramatic Film. The film is called Tom and Viv. Here is Miranda Richardson. Thanks for coming on tonight. Okay. You know, I've seen a lot of your pictures. The Crying Game, you were the IRA revolutionary. In Damage, your life fell apart when Jeremy Irons was unfaithful to you. In fact, you have played a woman who was on the very edge of the edge, and usually by the end of the picture, you jump right through it. In fact, in Dance with a Stranger, weren't you the last woman hanged in Great Britain?
That's right. She was made an example of, yeah.
And so we could hardly call you the great comic actress of all time. I mean, you really play some very, very, very difficult roles.
Yeah, I do. On the edge, I suppose they are. They're in some kind of conflict, which is what makes the story interesting, which is what makes it interesting to me,
right.
Why I want to do them, because it gives me something to do, you know, not just reactive.
But the question is, are you acting that part? Are you playing that woman who might be approaching the edge or might be approaching a climactic moment in her life? Or is there a part of Miranda Richardson that is that way?
No, I think not. Unless, well, maybe I am approaching a climactic point. I don't know. I don't feel it.
Well, not right for a second.
On the cusp. No, I just try and go for the truth. I mean, that's all that you can do, really. As far as I'm concerned, each one I take is different, and it's like kind of loosely. It's like doing a painting. You know, you kind of put the big wash in first, and then you go in and do the detail. I think what happens is that once you've shown some kind of affinity or some kind of strength, people will try and make you do it again and again.
Sure,
and I try not to do that.
To repeat yourself when you do roles.
If possible.
You know, I have a colleague I work with here who worked on the BBC for some time.
Oh, yeah.
And he was with you on the crew on a production called Blackadder, in which you played Queen Elizabeth, and I guess you played her as kind of a...
well, she's a kind of infanta, really, you know. She's enfant terrible or something, you know. She's power mad, really. She's far too young to be ruling, and the simplest thing to do if you don't like something that somebody did is just to, you know, and she does it quite often, but she can change within a nanosecond, really. And I think that's, if there's a common denominator, that's what people seem to see in this stuff that I do, that I can kind of react very
Right, but he said, like, the Blackadder was the worst bastard in the world when it came to the Queen. He was just on her case constantly, and he said you played her as this bubbly, laughing young person with a, you know, almost putting down the Queen, making sort of a caricature of the Queen.
Well, it's not our Queen. It's not our dear Queen, as we know her. This is the 16th century version. Impeccable lineage. But yeah, why not? I mean, the whole thing is a comedy history series, and that's how it struck me when I read it. And the great thing about the series is that it was organic. It was kind of if you put something in one week, then the writers would get hold of that and do something with it the next week and kind of build on it.
Sure. Hey, much the same as they do on Saturday Night Live in this country. And you were also a host there on one occasion.
That was one of my favorite things of all time. It was just so great, and I have to say I'm so dumb that I didn't know what I was letting myself in for, and it's a good job I didn't, because I would have run a mile, I think. Not in these shoes, but I would have. And it was...
You mean, had you known what Saturday Night Live was going to be, you would have said no?
I think I would have scared myself or something.
Oh, I see,
and said,
I see.
I can't. But not completely knowing what it was going to entail was just the best way to be. You know, it's kind of like just dive in there. And I had the best time. I had a really great...
So it was one of the great shows. We're with Miranda Richardson, who is up for a Golden Globe tomorrow night for her work in Tom and Viv, which we will talk about here in just a couple of seconds. And you can join us on the toll-free line. That's 1-800-95-CBS-TV. And by the way, I'm Tom, and I'm proud to say, and I'm paid to say, you're watching CBS. We'll be right back.
Women ask me if there's really anything that can make them look younger. I ask them, are you still just using a moisturizer? I give them Pond's new age-defying lotion. It contains alpha-nutrium. No age-defying ingredient has been found that can beat it. They start to see the proof in 2 weeks. The look and feel of younger skin. Try getting that from a moisturizer. Age-defying lotion. New from the Pond's Institute.
I have 1 full-time job and 3 full-time kids.
Oshkosh Bagosh sales associate Anna Dragovich.
I know how to sell kids' clothes. My kids know how to stain them. You wouldn't dare use bleach on these colors, right? Oshkosh knows bright colors, and we suggest new Tide with bleach.
Tide's activated bleaching system is unbeatable at removing many tough stains. And now it has a special new ingredient that helps keep cotton colors bright, wash after wash.
You could have that garment for a very long time.
If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide.
So when your children look good, it makes you feel good.
Show me a guy who's looking this good, and I'll show you a guy who reads Men's Fitness magazine. Because guys in the know exactly where to go. For workouts that really work. For great tasting foods that keep you energized. For ways to make your sex life sizzle. For updates on state-of-the-art gear. Plus all the thrills, chills, and high adventure you can handle. Men's Fitness. It's in a class by itself. Bigger and better than anything else out there. With more ways to shape up faster. More ways to get better results in the gym. More ways to trim fat and add muscle in all the right places. More ways to improve your game, whatever it is. Each issue will energize and encourage you to do all the right things for yourself, inside and out. Month after month, it will introduce you to the latest, most effective ways to keep your body fit. Your mind sharp. Your looks absolutely terrific. After a few issues, you'll notice a real difference. You'll love the way you feel. Healthier, happier, more alive. Like a winner with more strength, more confidence, and self-esteem. Subscribe now, and you'll also get this free video. Abs of Stone Chiseled Chest. Revealing the best workouts, the right equipment, secrets of the pros, and much more. The video is yours free with your paid subscription to Men's Fitness. 1 full year, 12 great issues for just $19.97. That's $22 off the cover price, a savings of over 50%. There's no risk. Cancel any time for a refund and still keep the video. So call now for Men's Fitness and the free video.
So call now for Men's Fitness and the free video. 1-800-313-0404. That's 1-800-313-0404. Call now, 1-800-313-0404.
The picture for which you were a nominee for the Golden Globe Best Actress tomorrow night is Tom and Viv, the story of T.S. Eliot and his romance with Vivian Hagwood. A romance which starts off, as they all do, wonderfully, and then goes terribly adrift when Viv requires medication for female trouble. See, I'm not good with that.
Euphemism, which is something that Viv has no truck with. But we'll say it like it is. It's premenstrual syndrome. Bad, in her case.
And in those days, what did they give for that?
This awful mixture of uppers and downers, really. Sort of ether and
Yeah, I saw one part of the film where the pharmacist is giving you something that's 90% alcohol.
Yeah.
And she says, please be careful,
Please
Mom.
be careful.
Yeah.
And
I'm thinking to myself, hey, Mom, go home and have a couple. You know?
Yeah, well, Viv never did, you see. This is, I mean, but she was, as you say, she was on pure alcohol and medication. So she often appeared like she was drunk or certainly out of control. You know, she'd have these terrible highs and lows in public, which was also funny because she's, you know, she's saying things that people don't want to hear, didn't want other people to know. Well, that doesn't happen in this town, does it? I know that.
Where, in Los Angeles? No, not ever. No. Not so you would notice, no. Here is Rachel in Buffalo, New York. Hi.
Yes, hi, Tom.
Hello, Rachel.
How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
I just want to say you're doing a great job on the show.
Thank you. Listen, say hi to our friend. She's right here.
Miranda, how you doing?
Okay.
I have a question for you. Where did you start your acting career? Because I saw you in Enchanted April, and I saw The Crying Game, but I had no idea that you were the same person.
Yeah.
Because you have such a diverse, you know, character roles.
Yeah. I thought you were going to ask
Rachel, you know, she changes her outfit, she changes her hair, she's a whole different person. That's why she's Miranda Richardson.
Yeah. I thought she was going to ask me where I got my suit. Something like that. No, I went to drama school, and then when I left drama school, I did 5 years in repertory theatres around England. God, it sounds boring, doesn't it? But actually, some of it was very good. And then I did some television. And then, when I was in a theatre show in the north of England, I got an audition to do the film Dance with a Stranger. And that was my first film.
But like when they come to you and they say, now listen, Miranda, we've got this great picture. It's called Dance with a Stranger. And you get to play the last woman to go to the gallows in Great Britain. What do you say? Geez, this might not be a part that would be career advancing?
No, I didn't think like that. I'm stupid, aren't I? No, I thought, what great clothes. It's in the 50s. Who am I working with? Ian Holm. Oh, God, I'd better get my act together. You know, it was a chance to work in movies, and my first chance, and maybe my only chance. How was I?
So let's grab it and go, right?
Yeah,
right.
But I didn't realize the import of it. But once I got into the story, I realized what a wonderful thing it was to do.
Yeah. Rachel, does that answer your question?
She's gone.
I guess she has. Here's Carrie in Chicago, Illinois. Hi, Carrie, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Tom. I've been watching you every night. You have a really great show.
Thank you.
My question for Miranda was, you've played so many different kinds of characters. Which of the characters that you've played has been, like, the most difficult for you to reach, the most difficult to play?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, they're probably all difficult in the beginning when you try to develop the character and assemble it.
Yeah, what I tend to do is I immediately see somebody else in the part, which is a really bad thing if you're an actor trying to work, you know? I mean, to do yourself out of a job.
You worry about that, don't you, being out of a job? Yeah.
Well, most actors do. No, I don't. No, I'm not insecure.
Well, I think by this time you've saved a couple of bucks to tide you over to the new ride.
Yeah. I was glad of the flight over, though, I have to say. Difficult. I suppose the one that was probably going to be the most challenging, because it was sort of like an age leap as well, was Damage. But when it came to it, it felt fine. The most difficult pieces were the smaller scenes, not the sort of major scene in the kitchen. That felt like it had a real flow in it. But just to place her in between, you know, in the little short scenes when you're just doing domestic things around, to make those specific.
Yeah.
That's the difficult thing.
Carrie, I'm down to time, but thanks for joining our show tonight. Hope you come back on Monday, okay?
Oh, yeah, thanks a lot.
Okay, good night now.
Bye.
I wish you all the best tomorrow night. I hope you win, because you'll make us look very, very good and very, very smart. Good luck to you tomorrow, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, Miranda Richardson, folks. We'll be right back to wrap it up for this week, right after these announcements.
Introducing a revolutionary new toothbrush, the Aquafresh Flex Direct, the only toothbrush with a unique pivoting head for cleaning those hard-to-reach places. Let's see how well it bends. First, the brushes tackle the ramp. No problem. Next, the pipes. Clean through. Now into the slalom. Watch that head pivot. The winner, new Aquafresh Flex Direct. And its flexible neck is gentle on your gums, too. Aquafresh Flex Direct cleans brilliantly because it really uses its head.
A master of time, a master of illusion. Two supernatural forces from the past are about to wage war in the present. Highlander, the final dimension, rated PG-13. Starts January 27th at theaters everywhere.
You ready? Yes. Tell me what you smell.
I have no idea.
You're really stuffed.
Yes.
I have a nasal spray I want to give you. Now, what do you smell?
That's an orange.
You got it. Curious about the product?
Dristan.
Dristan 12-hour nasal spray.
Man, I can breathe.
Alpha 1, this is Alpha 2. Enemy squad in opening. Moving north on foot.
Sergeant, here's the latest intelligence report.
I'll post it right away, Sergeant. Sir, enemy position is confirmed at Papa.
Step off.
Army Reserve, Montgomery GI Bill, skill training and more.
My best girl's coming over, got a noon lunch date. Said, help me out here, Mama, put the good stuff on her plate. I want the blues, Kraft macaroni and cheese. The blue box blues. If Mama wants to please me, she's only got to tease me. I want the blues.
Kids want the one in the blue box, because it's the cheesiest. Kraft cheese and macaroni.
We got the blues.
Built this city with bold thinking and hard work. And at 19, we're building our brand new newscast the same way. Because this is a whole new city, and you deserve a whole new way to look at it. 19 News, a new choice for a new Cleveland.
It's tough finding glasses that fit perfectly. So LensCrafters invented a new measuring system called AccuFit that measures the size of your face.
L10, I'll remember that.
Once you've been measured, finding the right glasses is simple.
I like these.
Okay. The size is clearly marked on the frame, so you'll know which one is right for you.
Here?
Only LensCrafters has AccuFit. We're able to get the correct size the first time and satisfy the customer with the best quality glasses.
It's a nice fit.
That's what we do here.
LensCrafters, helping people see better, 1 hour at a time.
Just thinking about Barbara Walters. You know, you sit and talk to her, and your whole life starts flashing before your eyes. It brings me to become greatly emotional. And then she went out and fired up a big joint. You want to believe? No. It's been a long week, I'll tell you. It's been a long life. And please God, it continues. Anyway, back Monday night, same time, same station. I'm running the names of all the people that I love to work with on this television program here at CBS. And you folks at home who know them, they'll be home soon. But not tonight. Sleep tight, America. Good night, everybody.
To report the story well, you've got to go there, be there, hear it firsthand, see the difference, experience CBS News.
The best thing to happen to pasta since jarred spaghetti sauce isn't a sauce and doesn't come in a jar. Pasta Ready from Contadina. It's a fresh idea for topping pasta. We dice vine-ripened tomatoes, marinate them in extra virgin olive oil with garlic and spices for a taste that's deliciously light and fresh. In 6 ready-to-serve varieties like mushroom, olive, even crushed red pepper. No jar required. Pasta Ready from Contadina. The freshest ideas in Italian cooking.
$18,995 or $299.
$9.99 a month. Tomorrow at Spitzer Chevy in Northfield. Spitzer, simply the best.